In this world, there are a lot of things that could keep you up at night. Of course, there's COVID-19. But if you're anxious like me, you could probably list a long list of other fears as well, including getting hit by a car, getting cancer, getting sick from a bad gas station meal, getting caught in a wildfire, and electrocuting yourself while plugging in your laptop at a sketchy cafe. Fungi, however, are probably low on your priority list. Regrettably, that might be altering. Here's why you should be afraid. A patient in Japan experienced a fresh fungal infection in his ear in 2009. Science was previously unaware of the highly contagious Candida auris fungus, but within a few hours, cases began to appear in Venezuela, Iran, Russia, and South Africa. Scientists believe that human travel was the cause of the spread, but when they sequenced the case, they were shocked to discover that these strains weren't even remotely related to one another. Instead, a number of distinct infections of an unidentified fungal disease were simultaneously appearing all over the world, according to scientists. There have been thousands of cases of Candida auris in 47 countries, and about a third of those who contacted the infection pass away within 30 days. Some scientists believe that the sudden increase in cases across the globe is a sign of things to come. Humans ought to consider themselves fortunate that they don't have to worry about fungus all the time. Fungus would also rank highly on your list of fears if you were a fish, reptile, or amphibian, if you were able to list your other fears. A fungus called chytrid has wiped out amphibian population all over the world in recent years. According to some scientists, chytrid is the blame for the population decline of more than 500 amphibian species. That's roughly 1 out of every 16 species of amphibian that are known to science, to put it into perspective. In fact, the fungi are so widespread, it's one of the reasons why fungal infections are so frequent in so many different types of animals. For starters, human beings can and do contact fungi-related infections like athlete's foot, and fungi-related illnesses are one of the major causes of death for HIV-positive, immune-compromised individuals. However, people are greatly unlikely to succumb to a fungus due to one very important factor. They are warm. In general, warm-blooded environments are typically too warm for fungi to survive. According to one Casadevall study, 95% of fungal species simply cannot survive at the average internal temperature of an adult human. When you observe animals that hibernate, which require lowering their internal temperatures to survive the winter, you can observe this temperature barrier in action. For instance, white nose syndrome, which affects bats while they are hibernating and therefore cooler than usual, has recently caused significant declines in the population. These results lend credence to the idea that fungi and animals have a long history together. According to one theory, our warm-blooded nature may have developed specifically to protect us from the kinds of fungi that can annihilate cold-blooded populations. Warm-bloodedness comes with a price. It takes a lot of energy to maintain your body at such a high temperature, which necessitates a lot of food. In fact, some warm-blooded animals require more food in a single day than the comparable-sized cold-blooded reptile would require in a month. You run a higher risk of being preyed upon if you are constantly looking for food. One of the many advantages of having warm blood, according to Casadevall, is the fungus filter. According to him, this may shed light on one of the main puzzles surrounding evolution. Why didn't the dinosaurs simply repopulate and take over Earth again after the asteroid wiped them out? If the reptiles were so fit, why didn't we have a second reptilian age? We are the dominant animal because of the fungus that served as a filter, he claims. In other words, while the remaining cold-blooded dinosaurs succumbed to the infections, it was the warm-blooded creatures' resistance to fungus that allowed them to become dominant. The theory is challenging because it's so difficult to corroborate. There are very few locations where evidence of fungi or fungal infections has been preserved in a fossil record. This isn't to say that they were not there. Rather, it's because fungi are frequently soft and easily degraded, which makes them unsuitable for becoming fossils. To say that's the only thing that occurred, in Speck's opinion, is definitely a fringe theory at this point. But did it make a difference? I find it fascinating, and if we ever find out, it won't be until we start sequencing data and discover invasive mold and similar things in dinosaur fossils. Despite the fact that fungi were unrelated to the current mammalian dominance era, we still need to focus much more on them. The theory suggests that fungi haven't historically been a threat to humans because they haven't evolved to survive in the temperatures found inside our bodies. But that might alter as the planet warms. According to the most recent estimates, the Earth's temperature would increase by 5 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of the century, if serious measures are not taken. And those 5 degrees might mean the difference between a fungus' ability to survive and its eventual demise. Surely, fungal infections are already more prevalent in warm climates. For example, rates of cryptococcosis, a fungus that can be fatal for those with AIDS, can reach 30% in Africa, compared to just 5 to 10% in more temperate locales. However, there is still a thin but crucial line between the temperature of the human body inside and the circumstances in tropical environments. Even a few degrees can make all the difference in whether a fungus survives or perishes. A growing number of locations will more frequently reach internal human body temperatures as the planet continues to warm. The fungi will eventually develop their ability to adapt, and if they do, they may discover a completely different set of hosts in us. Casadevall believes that this is, at least in part, the cause of the recent increase in Candida auris cases worldwide. The fungus can grow and reproduce at higher temperatures than its close relatives, according to a study by scientists. And given that Casadevall predicts that the thermal gradient barrier between our guts and fungi may weaken by 5% for every 1 degree increase in global temperature, it may not be the last fungal infection to appear in the era of climate change. Currently, Casadevall and his colleagues are attempting to compile a list of the most likely fungal species that already exist on the edge of the body temperatures, to be able to adapt to humans. We are a long way from having that knowledge because it's not even clear which species or where we should be most concerned about. The fact that doctors currently lack effective tools to treat fungal infections is frightening on top of everything else. For starters, the field is tragically underfunded because fatal fungal infections in humans have historically been relatively uncommon. For instance, in Africa, cryptococcosis kills more people than tuberculosis, but only 1% of funding for research into the disease is devoted to it. Since most doctors are not trained to recognize these infections, they frequently go unnoticed until it's too late. There are only 3 different types of antifungal medications, even when they're identified. Viruses and bacteria are less related to fungi than to humans, so generally speaking, anything that kills them also kills us. Additionally, the fungi we're discussing here are internal infections that can cause havoc in the body, rather than external infections like athlete's foot or dandruff. Already each year, more than 300 million people worldwide get a serious fungal infection, and over 1.5 million of them pass away. In the lungs of the people with specific infections, fungal balls can form. Since millions of years ago, fungi has been a vital component of the Earth's ecosystem. While many fungi are helpful to both people and the environment, others can be dangerous and even fatal. Black mold is one of the most well-known dangerous fungi. It can grow in wet, humid environments and can release toxic spores that can lead to a respiratory issue and other health problems. The Amanita phalloides, also referred to as the death cap, is another perilous fungus. It's one of the deadliest mushrooms in the world and, if consumed, can result in liver failure and even death. For those with weakened immune systems, such as those who have HIV, AIDS, or are undergoing chemotherapy, fungi infections can also be a serious concern. If untreated, invasive fungal infections can result in serious illness or even death. Additionally, some fungi have the power to seriously harm plants and crops, with disastrous effects on agriculture and food production. While there are many reasons to value the role that fungi play in the ecosystem, it's also critical to be aware of and take precautions against any potential threat posed by particular fungi. The risk of harmful fungal exposure can be decreased by taking the appropriate precautions and preventative measures, such as maintaining good hygiene, keeping indoor spaces dry and well ventilated, and promptly seeking medical attention for any alarming symptoms. What follows, and what are the best course of action? Casadevall responds to the issue in the same way that every other scientist does. More funding is required. He asserts that humanity should invest more in learning about what is the largest kingdom on the planet. The COVID pandemic has taught us that we need to be more ready for disease outbreaks. We are obviously not prepared for the upcoming pandemic, even if it were a coronavirus. But compared to many of these potential dangerous fungi, we knew a lot more about coronavirus as a class. We underestimated the size of the possible dangers in the world, and it may even be expanding. But hey, we have come to the close of the video. Do like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos like this. Also press the bell icon to get the latest updates from our channel. See you in our next video, and have a great day.